Hey, I was going to wait for adverts and stuff to go through first.
Nice. Nice.
Make sure that hopefully everyone can hopefully see and hear us.
Can you hear us?
So,
Oh,
hey, Ada
how's
Doody, hey Greg, hey Kathy, hey Lucy's, hey Nat, hey Aaron, hey Shady. How is everyone doing this fine evening? There's gonna be. Hey, Mark Victoria. No, Greg can hear us now. He's turned his headphones up.
Hey, good work. There we go.
Oh, fantastic. Well, tonight we are joined by the lovely Joe of Scaped Nature.
Hello.
Hey, Natalie. I've been on once before, and I was in back, and it was a fair few months ago. And
Yeah,
so,
crikey.
and so for anyone who, A, arachnophobe to arachnaholic, A, Susan, for anyone who didn't see that stream, do you want to give yourself a quick introduction into yourself and what you do?
Yeah, cool. So I'm Joe. I own a shop in Norwich called Scaped Nature. It's had a bit of a change in the past maybe year or so, as it was quite heavily sort of focused on aquascaping, planted aquariums, and then terrariums. But as my background is more reptiles and inverts, I've kind of expanded into that as well. So it's still sort of plants and terrariums and planted aquariums, but also now the reptile and invert stuff. But again, with the sort of heavier focus on that more naturalistic planted style. And yeah, it's all about the plants and natural environments and things.
Oh, hey, Gemma. I didn't realize it was you, Gemma. Hey, C. Yeah, no, so, yeah. I mean, again, I keep saying this. I do need to pop up again and see. So
Yeah.
I've only been the once, and that was back when you was just working there. You didn't actually own the place, and
Mhm.
yeah, it was very much. I mean, it was great for all the hardscape stuff, for terrariums, and the plants and stuff. But it was very much still focused on the aquascape side of things. So,
Yeah.
um, did this sort of change come with you taking over ownership of the shop then?
Yeah, so I think it's sort of even originally in the beginning, when I was just working there, I kind of spoke to Ray, who was the owner at the time. Kind of hadn't even sort of had the concept of having like dart frogs, for example.
Yep.
So there's a couple of planted sort of terrariums with dart frogs in it. So I'd already been sort of in the background, kind of adding adding little bits and bobs. But yeah, no, then I took over. Crikey, it would have been like about a year and a half ago now. Um, I had still kept the ideas of having like the terrariums and then the planted fish tanks, but then just more applied that to reptiles and even inverts and things. It can work really well. So you can have, say, this lovely, amazing planted enclosure that's good to look at, but then also on the flip side, you've got something living in there as well.
Yep.
Especially things like the sort of crested geckos, dart frogs, and more sort of sticky toed geckos, as I call them. You can have a just awesome planted setup. And in fact, I had a customer the other day show me he had a Brazilian white knee tarantula, and he'd done this amazing, like actually like fully sort of planted enclosure, which I've always been sort of weary of, just because obviously tarantulas having that habit of just digging
Digging
everything.
up.
um,
Bulldoze into place.
that's it. But he made this. He must have got really lucky. He made this like cork bark sort of area,
Yep.
pre-made the hole, and it just went straight into there. So you've got this awesome little porkbark hide with a tarantula's leg sticking out of it, and then all these like nice plants and things around it. So far, so good. So hopefully it stays that way. But that's really it just looks so good.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is sort of a big step up from having just like a box of maybe dirt and a bit of corkbark. I think even in the past couple of years, I think people are putting extra effort into their enclosures, which is great. Great for everyone because it looks nice. You've got the plants, but then you have more, more naturalistic behaviours from pets as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Anton. So, I think I'm certainly seen. I mean, certainly for me, I've seen that. Yeah, a bit more within like the invert hobby and stuff of going putting plants in and mosses in and stuff, and certainly that a lot more going on social media. And even the terrarium builder that just done closed terrariums, then getting into the invert side of things and even the aquarium side of things, and going and kind of having that crossover, which is awesome. People like Worcester terrariums, keeping glass frogs and stuff, and how and getting isopods and stuff, and that's absolutely fantastic to see that because that kind of almost links the two hobbies in and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, hey, little mink. So I mean, just what's super nice to see a shop that provides the animals itself with so much enrichment.
Oh,
I think that'd be very nice for any shop owner to hear. Something like that,
yeah.
Sometimes shops do get a bit of a bad reputation because of a few bad shops and stuff. And
well, that's it. Like there's a few sort of groups on Facebook that I'm in, and it's always like, even if they're buying, say, whatever reptile or invert, it's like, shops don't know how to look after reptiles. Shops don't know how to keep X, Y, Z, and it's just like it's said in a way that applies to all shops, and it's kind of like there's loads of shops that are fantastic as well, but all it takes is a couple of shops to give some bad advice or sell the wrong enclosure for something, and then every shop is then tarnished. But even then, I've seen some of the stuff that shops have sort of sold to people, and I'm just like, but why? That you can sell these like setups, for example, like the leopard gecko. There's a certain brand that does these leopard gecko setups that are just completely wrong, but they're cheap. But why wouldn't you, as a shop owner, want to sell the correct stuff, which is going to A, come to more money, and B, give that animal the right
better chance?
That's it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I thought those sort of setups, you see them absolutely everywhere, and from multiple different species. And like, I mean, I know exactly the brand you're talking about. Their chameleon one is atrocious. So that so many chameleon people that's just a death sentence for that chameleon if you put a chameleon in there and stuff. But it's one of the biggest brands going and stuff, one of the most well known. So Anton, Joe does own a shop, a very, very good shop. So I can attest to that. And that's the thing, and it's some, again, I've been to some battles, and I've been to some absolutely fantastic ones out there. And it's the same, same my industry, in the zoo industry. There's a lot of bad zoos out there. There's also a hell of a lot, there's far more good zoos, especially in the UK. But something bad happens at a bad zoo, and we all get tarnished, kind of thing. And people are like, "Oh, all zoos are bad," and stuff. And it's like, no, we're all very, very, some sort of very different to each other. Like something bad can happen at a roadside zoo in the US that has no regulations and this, that, the other. But because it's got the word zoo, where I work is considered the same. And I was like, no, we're very different, sort of thing. So, and I mean, in terms of like, obviously you got to have potentially knowledge on quite a number of different species, potentially. Now, you as an owner, you have control over the amount of species that you get in, but on average, like what is the average kind of number of species you might be dealing with at any one time?
Just going to do a quick count in my head. Not too many. Only because things like bearded dragons, I try not to keep in sort of stock to buy in, because there's, for example, there's so many that need rehoming. So what I've done before is I've taken like a couple of beardies in, for example, got them back up to health, sorted their enclosures out, and then I'll rehome them.
Yep.
But I if someone comes in and says, I want a baby bearded dragon, I try not to keep them in stock for that reason, because there's so many to be rehomed. So I've got sort of more of a interesting selection. But yeah, maybe sort of 10 or 15. But like, even if I've had people come in, if they ask me a question, I won't try and make up the answer. I'll be like, I'm not entirely sure. Let's have a look, and then I'll go to, I don't know, like Reptifiles or something, as they're a pretty good source. But I think that's the difference. Mate, I don't know if it's like a pride thing. So if like someone's going to a shop, asks about an animal, the person's not sure, so they'll just guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I don't know something, I'm not going to say what I think is the right answer, because that could be A, completely wrong and kill the animal, or B, I could be completely wrong. They ask someone else who gives them a different answer, and then they're confused and things like that. So I try and, I'll research it there with them, and that seems to work. I think people appreciate actually sitting down and then looking through and then doing it that way, like researching it with someone who has a better understanding of what that might mean in terms of like having the enclosure set up. But I think because of that, I've got lots of little tidbits that I can then refer to that I've remembered.
Absolutely. So Anton, well, Anton's good. Anton has a bit of a. He's not a big fan at all. He keeps green tree pythons and breeds green tree pythons
Nice.
quite a lot up in Scotland, and he always struggles to see whether they're legitimate or not, about whether they're open about where their animals come from, of them being like wild caught or captive farmed, which is essentially wild caught.
Yeah. It's a fancy way of playing wild caught.
I know. It is like not really farmed anymore. We're never really farmed. It's just they're caught in captivity and then chipped over in mass bulk, and they go, "Oh, yeah, it's farmed." I was like, "No." So, and he was like, he's had a few issues. Shops not being willing to prove where their animals have come from and stuff.
Yeah. No, that's it. And I think it's difficult because you can get quote unquote nicer animals in terms of the sort of species variety if you are buying wild caught. Like the Berber skinks. I had some Berber skinks in, and they were wild caught, but I only sold them to someone that I know is going to make that attempt to breed them. So I got them in because I knew that they were gonna breed them. But I think, I don't know why you'd lie. I mean, I understand why a shop might not say the complete truth, but why bother? Like, you can tell a lot of the times if something's wild caught or if it's captive bred just because of the sheer amount of difference in condition. And I think captive bred animals are more expensive because they've had time put into them. But yeah, I'm speaking to a few other shops as well. They've got stuff I want, I've got stuff that they want, and sort of swapping stock and things. I've got some nice stuff hopefully coming next week. And I know it's captive bred. And in fact, actually, that reminds me, although they're very infrequently wild caught because they're really easy to breed. I had some leopard geckos come in today, and the breeder gave me these really adorable little certificates. Had like their birth date, their morph, a picture of the sir and dame, and it was like the coolest thing. And that would be really cool if that was implemented to everything, I think.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's almost treating it as if it was a CITES species when it's not. A little bit
yeah,
of like,
well,
here's
that's
all
it.
the proof that. Yeah, that's certainly quite an interesting thing.
No, that's it. And I think it's something that the two big sort of main wholesalers should do. I mean, even if they were to add a couple of quid on to the price of things, of the animals, I mean, that'd be fine. I'd pay that extra £2 if I got like a little certificate, even if it's just like birthday, morph, and a picture of the animal. That'd be great. Like, but they don't.
No.
But yeah, I mean, things like the Herman's tortoises, they're great because they come with like their certificates and all that, and it's really cool. But I think, yeah, to an untrained eye, it would be difficult for someone buying their son, let's say like an elegant gecko or a June gecko, which just a lot of them, well, maybe 50% are still wild caught. They're not going to know, and they're not going to ask because I think a lot of people just assume that they're not.
Yep.
But yeah, a bit of a tangent there in reply to the other one. But yeah.
That's all good. So, as we've got a question from Little Mink about what are your favourite, well, I think for both of us, what are our favourite things to keep? So, what are your favourite things?
Ooh. That's
It's always the hardest question.
yeah.
So, yeah, same with like favourite species stuff. It's always the hardest one. Hey, Leah.
I'm gonna cheat here, and I'm gonna go for two animals because they're complete polar opposites, so I can almost get away with it. So I've recently got rats again, right? And I'm really enjoying keeping rats again. I think everyone should have them because they're great, they're interactive, they're friendly, they require a decent bit of maintenance, so you still feel like you're getting involved. So rats are on there, but in terms of slightly fancier stuff, I'm currently really enjoying panther chameleons. I don't know what it is. I think again because there's maintenance involved, so I'm getting involved. I just really like the panthers. Yemens are cool, bit grumpy for me.
Yep.
But the panther, I've got a panther at the shop called Blue. He was a rehome because whoever had him before had the heating set up wrong, so he's got like a really big chunk of a burn out of his back.
Oof.
But he's the friendliest reptile I've ever handled. And he's great if people come in and we're talking about reptiles and they say, "Oh, I've never handled this," or "I've never touched a reptile." I'll always get him because he'll come out, he'll climb up people's hands and then just sit on their head.
Yep.
He'll feed when he's out really well as well. He's just I haven't known any reptile that just fine and blasé with being like just out about and chilled. Yes, someone agrees on the rat side of things. But yeah, what about you?
Cool. I was going to say, Scott and A there. For me, in terms of privately, have all my inverts. So I've been trying to think the whole time. That's why I haven't come up with answers. I love my beetles. I absolutely love my beetle species. As much as they can be, some of them can be a pain, especially the larger species, and they take forever with some of the larvae. Sort of thing, but I do love my beetles. Um, so and then probably the vampire crabs at the moment as well,
They are good
because it's
fun.
just cool to watch them, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So cool to watch them out and about and nibbling around and stuff. But it's so difficult to choose, like even just to narrow down to some things because I have so much variety. Because now I'm like looking around, like, oh, but then there's that transfer over there that I really like, or there's those isopods, my rubber duckies or my lemon blues and stuff. So it's yeah. So
Yeah.
sometimes so difficult to narrow down, and even like with my work, I can narrow down to two species, and that is the rhino iguana,
Mhm.
Carmen, because she's a beaut, and
Yeah.
then the red crested turaco Rosie, a
Okay. Yeah.
female, because she's not a bird. She's a bird, but she's part of my logo. She's a bird that sits on my shoulder doing my logo. She greets me every morning. She acts more like a dog than she does a bird, sort of thing. And if you're having a bit of if you're having a stressful day or you got everything on mind, I can actually just go in that enclosure, sit down, she'll just come and sit next to me, sort of thing, kind of thing. And it'll
That's
just sit there and
adorable.
just that 5 minutes is like, yeah, you know what, life's so good, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So in terms of work, it's always those two. But in terms of up here, it's always difficult to narrow down to which ones I prefer working with because it's there's so many, so many.
Mhm.
Hey Vivian, so Anton's put here
Yeah.
probably a bit of an awkward question. Where do shops get their pricing from? I've seen a shop selling well caught green tree pythons, £200 more than he does, and have done no effort with their animals. How do shops price stuff?
See, that's an interesting one because again, it's like for me. So I've gone into shops before, and I've seen say the Azura's Dendrobates dart frogs for like £95 each, which is insane to me because when I sold the last lot I had, I think I had them out at £60 each. And I think it's a mixture of things. I think it's a mixture of where they're buying them from. So especially with the dart frogs, I either go and get the tadpoles and raise them myself, or I will buy them from breeders and things like that. And I think the second thing that's going to affect it is overheads of shops. It's always a difficult thing. So some stuff I sell in the shop is more than online, just because I literally can't afford to sell it at the same price online does, because I'm paying for insurance, shop rent, VAT, all of that stuff. So I have to make a little bit more money on things. But I think, a lot of it is probably going to be the first one. I've seen some suppliers, like the bigger suppliers, for example, selling an animal for what I would sell it to the public at. And a lot of shops either just buy stuff just from the main suppliers, and people like myself I will go and I will try and find local breeders, or as local as possible, which is a nightmare in Norwich, might I add. Everyone seems to be either right up north or all the way down south. And I mean, I can't speak in terms of like how the importing system works, because I don't import anything. So I don't know if there's like costs and things involved with that. I presume there is, with all the certification and import, etc., etc. So that maybe that's why. I think if you're at home, or even if you've got like a facility that you have separately, that you're doing something very specific, your costs aren't going to be as much as, say, a shop. But I don't know. That's just my thought. I could be completely wrong. That's sort of the most logical thing I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, I see regular lists from one of the main suppliers,
Yeah,
or main wholesalers, because that's where my parents get their live food and a lot of their equipment from, and the park where I work gets all a lot of our reptile stuff from them.
Yeah.
And sometimes even like on the wholesale list, the prices are more than what you sometimes we're like, what the hell, how's the shop, and sometimes like what I've seen hatchling corn snakes on that list for like 50 quid kind of thing from a wholesaler, and you're like, what?
yeah, yeah.
Stuff.
This is
um
yeah. Well, it's if it's who I think is, because I think they supply a lot of the zoos. Like their
hey Matt,
mantis,
hey Claire, hey
their
Luke.
invert costs are like they're mind blowing. And it's like I've been into to pet shops and things, and I've seen like a ghost mantis or I don't know. Let's go with ghost mantis because they're easy. For sale for like 25 pounds, and I'm just like, what? I sell my ghost mantis for like £7.99. Like,
Yeah,
but if they're just buying from them, then
that's
that's
it.
all.
Yeah.
That's all they know. But yeah, they
Mm.
especially invert costs. Invert costs are so expensive from like
I
whole.
mean, it's because some of the big suppliers don't necessarily get the inverts in themselves. They'll get them from where we get our inverts from privately.
Yeah,
One of the big, the big suppliers that we all buy our inverts from direct retail price. They're perhaps only paying a little bit less than that, and then they're adding on their own price onto that. And then by the time
yeah,
it's got to the shop, the price has gone up so much, sort
yeah.
of thing.
No, that's it. That's it. Yeah, no. One of the guys that I get a lot of my mantis from, I know that he sells also to them as well for the same price as he sells them to me. So it's just like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
that, that,
I think it's probably because a lot of the especially the older reptile shops are just going to know reptiles rather than inverts and things. So they'll be, oh, let's just get a couple of mantis in, etc.
hey Matt. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, imagine sport, yeah. Some shops have different cancel rates, energy bills, rent, etc. So it depends on all outgoings, he guesses,
Mm. That's it.
and stuff. And yeah, he knows how much it costs for basically his sort of local shop, and sort of makes their pricing, and they don't make much of a wage off that. Kind of thing.
Yeah. This is it. I think there's a big like, especially for me, for example, I have such a big shop, for example, with a pretty large sort of online presence and a nice, properly laid out website. I think people get the sort of misconception that I'm minted. It's very much the opposite of that. Like every day is like almost like a struggle, for example. Just trying to make enough just to, just keep going. So I think there's a big misconception that a lot of these shops are making a lot of money, where I can guarantee you, sort of speaking with other shop owners, 80% of the shops are barely scraping by. But yeah, oh, hang on, what's that? So
Yeah. So as for yeah, so would that mean that he should raise his pricing? Because spending hundreds for food for 6 months to 2 years plus energy, and that's what annoys him about shops go for 5 minutes and £200 more.
yeah, I think, but
It's always a difficult one, isn't it? It's that thing
yeah,
of
because
you know, obviously, and they perhaps that £200 more than you, they perhaps paid £100 less than what they're actually selling it for.
Yeah.
So they might not actually be really, or like some, I know a few shops where like the margins on the actual animals is so small, sort of thing. They're like, and that's the thing, they're perhaps buying them. I don't know what price they're at, but they may only, may only be putting on 50 quid on top of the price that they paid for it. Sometimes, sort of thing. If it's a quite a large money animal.
Yeah, I think that's it. I can't speak for importing. I've never done it, but I know that there's so much red tape and cost getting them involved. For example, I have a good example, although it's not an animal. For example, if I want to buy some bromeliads from one of the growers in, I think, Denmark or the Netherlands, I have to pay an extra £750 on top of whatever amount I order just for the plant certificates.
Yep.
And then I just couldn't sell them for the normal price. It would just
No, you got to
make
try
them
and
too
make that.
expensive.
You got to try and cover that cost of. That's that's not. Oh, it's an extra £5. That's quite
No,
a significant
that's it.
cost.
That's it. Even if you buy like 100 bromeliads, that's an extra like £7.50 that you need to put on top of that price.
Yeah.
Just to cover that, and then I'd need to cover, the electric, staff if I had them, my wage, paying back the VAT bills every quarter, shop insurance, shop licensing. There's so many things to pay for, and I think, for example, when I respond to emails that I might be behind on, for example, and say, "Oh, sorry for late reply," it's literally just me. People are shocked, because they just assume that the shop's got a load of staff that are online staff, live chat staff, email staff, shop staff, when I'm I'm literally doing all of it. And I think there's a lot of loads and loads of shop costs that I think people don't think about, which is why it's such a struggle against online, because online just don't have some of these costs. But again, I can't speak for the import side of things on sort of import costings, certificates, vet checks, etc., which all need to legally be done. And you think about how much it costs to take an animal to a vet. If you're importing 20, 30, 40 snakes, you're paying like that vet cost each time for all of those animals. So again, it all makes it, what's the word? It all adds up. There we go. And then I presume that's just sort of one stage of it. You're then going to have the licensing side of it, and the import fees, custom fees. A lot of the time you'll pay VAT on top of those, say, animals as well, I presume, as they enter the UK, because the government will want their bit. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're paying what small breeders sell them for anyway, for the most part. Maybe they're £100 less or whatever, but I think anyone that is importing is going to be only importing because it's that little bit cheaper, so they'll make a little bit more on it. But again, don't import, so I don't know.
That's fair enough. So, hey, John says, "Paul, one of the biggest wholesalers in the UK, gets a large percentage of their reptiles and inverts from the EU for a third of their retail value, and they rip off the UK shops."
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, you sometimes see it and you're like, hang on, they're saying this a lot more than
Yeah.
He says the Scaped Nature branded Ferrari is on hold for a while then.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately. Although I am more of I'd say I'd probably get a Scaped Nature branded Tesla or something.
Yep. So, and means what shops have to pay all the rates plus tax on sales, public liability insurance. List goes on. Hobby sales have no such charges or tax.
Oh yeah, public liability insurance, just in case someone decides to trip over something.
Yeah, that's it. Sort of thing. And I said, yeah, thanks for asking, and learning, see other perspective, and that's important. It is important to see other side of things. It's always good.
That's it. I think there's I don't think it's as bad now, but I remember sort of 10 years ago, there was a real clash between shops and what the shops were called bedroom breeders. A massive clash. I think that doesn't make any sense. Like the shop should be going to these breeders because they're going to have a decent amount of knowledge, especially if they're breeding something like the green trees and whatnot. And I'd feel more comfortable going to that person, buying from them, because I'm going to get way more info from them, and I know that they're going to be good animals for the most part. As I said, the sort of leopard geckos that came in today were just, I've never seen such quality as I've had them before from, say, the main wholesalers, but these were just beautiful. So yeah, I think there needs to, I think the shops that are working with the smaller hobbyists that breed in the long term are going to do better because there is that slow move over, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, it's
And
one of those things.
and I think it will pay in the long term for everyone to work more together. That's one of the reasons I like the Advancing Herbological Husbandry / British Herbological Society conference every March, where it pulls zoo, trade, and private all together to discuss things.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all like, well, we've all got knowledge that we can all learn from each other.
Yeah.
And stuff to tell each other to make it better for the animals that we love and we look after.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
No,
As in, it's sort of like, yeah, I can fully imagine a shop if you got someone local to you breeding certain animals, that you can just perhaps go there and see how they're looked after, what the Sire and Dam are like and stuff, and like, yep, I can see that you're producing quality kind of thing, and you really care for your animals. I'll support you, sort of thing. And then that's at the end of that's feeding then that your local economy.
Yeah. No, well, that's it.
Yeah, and knows what, yeah, utilities are mad, especially after price hikers. She feels for shop owners, small businesses, and that's why she can't afford it. It is.
Yeah, it was.
Well, and Matt, transfer rookie sport, yeah, one good point with shop spaces online, especially for inverts. Sometimes your buy spider, which seems a bit higher, but once you compare with shipping and the fact that you can view it before paying, there can be less of a difference than initially thought, and that's very true as well. Yeah, on the invert side of things, when you go on, onto any of the online stores, you think about, you have no idea what that individual is going to actually look like, sort of thing. It may actually be smaller than you think it's going to be. It may be like, and then when it actually arrives in post, you have no idea what the post person's done with it or whatever, anything like that. And sometimes it's all like, well, actually, yeah, very sure, like, oh yeah, this one's actually a few quid more than it is on here, but actually I'm not paying 10 quid shipping.
Yeah, no, that's most sort of responsible invert websites won't send it for anything less than special next day, which is like 10 quid. Yeah, no, that's solid points.
John's Port vet certificates are cheaper. The more animals you get health certificates for, first one or two are full price, then a few pounds extra thereafter. Large importers have paperwork done in mass. So there you go.
Okay. Interesting.
Hey, Osmond. Might as well demand an overall pricing structure will force shop prices down. But if all stop using shops, there'll be none out there at some point. And that isn't good for the hobbies overall, in his opinion, which I agree with. I think the good shops we definitely need to have around.
Yeah. And I think, for example, I had in some tarantulas, and someone came in and they bought one from me, their first one, and now they're really into the hobby. They've got loads, and in turn, they're now in, say, groups and things, so they are getting them a little bit cheaper. But I think what people forget is, if there wasn't the shops on the high street, the amount of people coming into the hobby would drop. It would absolutely plummet. I've had so many people come in and getting their first mantis, spider, gecko, or whatever, and if the shops weren't there, they probably wouldn't have bothered. So it's like it's a difficult one. I think people underestimate just how many people shops bring into the hobby, and even if they then start buying online afterwards, I think a lot of people wouldn't start buying online straight away. I think most people would have started buying their first reptile from a shop. I can't even remember what that was in response to. Oh, it was in response to the one about people not using their shops. There you go.
Yeah, people stop using local shops and stuff. Yeah. And it's been like, I'm happy with, I don't have necessarily a good one right near me. I go a little bit further to go to a good one when I can, sort of thing. Go pop in, and and I bought a few inverts from him over, since and it's only been open about 2 years, kind of thing. Or but mostly I'll sometimes buy the odd bit of live food or a bit of decor or some substrate or something just to be like, I'll buy a little thing off you, sort of thing. And it's all like sometimes like, well, yeah, okay, I could get a cheaper, a cheaper so bad. Actually, it's only a few quid more, kind of thing. There's not really much in it, and I'm here, kind of thing. I might as well get it while I'm here, sort of thing.
That's it. You haven't got to go onto the website, find the product, add it to your basket, check out, pay for it, wait for it to come. You can just go in, get it, job done. Like, there's that ease of it all as well. But it is difficult because obviously with the cost of living and everything going up, people want to try and save money.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, they don't get that sort of interaction. If anything goes wrong or they're not sure of it, they can just speak to me while they're in the shop. Whereas, online, if you buy from whatever big website, you can go on live chat, you might get a response, you might not, you might get like go try and ring them and you might not get through, or you have to email. It takes like 3-4 days for them to reply and things like that, so it's just easier.
There's like all things a healthy ecosystem is required. Need local stores, online communities, and even online retailers to try and work harmoniously for the good of all. Hey, Amy. As he always supports his locals. He's lucky so he spends a lot of time in his local shop. To be fair, and I need to go down there to see it myself as well. As another one I need to go to. He just spent a lot of time in there.
Nice.
And John, he's been told at a survey was on a few years ago that over 50% of people intending in a new pet were inspired by having watched a YouTube video or social media.
That's an interesting topic.
There's only been a rise in that. I mean, obviously, kind of part of that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I've certainly seen where certain species or certain G's become have become a lot more popular due to, I don't know, I think it's social media, like jumping spiders.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Like
think it.
when I was first keeping and breeding jumping spiders, no one wanted them. So I stopped keeping and breeding them because no one wanted them, and I was like, I
Yeah,
can't deal with having like 200 of these, that no one wants. Basically,
yeah.
and then in the past few years, with the rise of TikTok and Instagram Reels and all this and the other, suddenly everyone wants jumping spiders now. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's a weird one because I think it's both negative and positive,
Yeah.
like most things. Because yeah, you'll get people that In fact, another prime example, I had someone come in and bought a jumping spider, and then they bought a different jumping spider, but then they moved to tarantulas, and then they got a mantis and things. So they're like almost like gateway inverts, I guess. But then on the other side of it, I've had people, because I've got sugar gliders in the shop. I've had people come in. Oh, I've seen these on TikTok. They're really cute. They're super cute. Oh, I'd love one, etc. And then I have to explain to them that they're not easy. Their diet is so specific. But there'll be people out there that will just buy things because they saw a cute video on it. It's like the African pygmy hedgehogs as well. They're a nightmare, absolute nightmare. They're not cute and cuddly half the time. They're just trying to.
They're quite huffy and they'll bite you.
Less the Tenrics though. They're the ones you want.
I was like, yeah, and with sugar gliders, like, yeah, they might see a 15-second little clip of it, but don't realize that it's a nocturnal animal. It's going to be asleep pretty much all day. It's going to be out and about all night when you're asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. If I'm lucky, the ones at the shop might poke their head out briefly for a snack, maybe like for 5 minutes in that 8-hour day. Like,
Yeah, that's it. Years ago, I was offered to rehome a pair of sugar gliders, and it came with the enclosure and everything. And I was like really thinking about it, but it was a 7 foot tall enclosure, and I couldn't fit it in anywhere.
oh no.
It was a nice enclosure. You had the, probably like indoor aviary style. We had to walk into it and stuff, and
Oh, cool.
so it was like a nice size space for them. But they were like moving. I was like, I can't fit this in anywhere.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong, they're awesome, and they can be really rewarding if you tame them down. But you've got to put in so much effort, and people just want a cute, cuddly flying squirrel that will jump off things into their hand. But unless you've spent, 6 months to a year taming it, it's gonna shout and scream
with
at
it
you.
and doing training and stuff. And otherwise, you got an animal that you touch it, it's probably going to bite you and it's going to hurt.
And oh my lord, have they got sharp teeth?
I don't know, emerald cockroaches are a great example. Me and John love our emeralds. So,
oh yeah,
the boom was through Facebook. He's had so many people approach him at shows them for the giant cages because they've seen posts online and stuff. Yeah, it's only a lot more nowadays. People see it. And even like people see, certain people whether it be on YouTube or TikTok got an animal, whatever animal it is, and they go, "Whoa, they've got an animal. I want that animal. I want one like that as well."
Well, that's it. And I'm just rereading John's thing. I think they've probably seen those posts online. I think I could be wrong, John, and correct me if I am. I think when it comes down to inverts, I think a lot of it is because they'll get like a jumping spider, then they'll join a group and discover all of these other inverts in the groups. So again, I think a lot of people, Facebook groups should be pushed more. Like if people ask me, I'll direct them to this group or this group or this group, because then it's much better speaking to people that have got the animals than it is a lot of the time researching, unless it's reptiles. I like reptiles, they're really good. But I think it's actually, that's just reminded me that one of the big wholesalers has now got those giant katydids in as well. Interesting.
Well, John breeds them.
And John breeds them, yeah. I wonder if that's where he got them. They got them from.
So, they're awesome things, but at the moment, I don't keep any kind of katydid in my flag because it'd probably keep me up at night.
That's the only bugbearer, no pun intended, for me.
But if I ever move out of here and have my own place with a garden where I can do an invert shed again, then I'd perhaps get back into katydids.
They look so cool. They're just
they're awesome, absolutely awesome things. I held one at one of the shows that John had, one of the adults, and the size of your hand and stuff, and it's like absolutely awesome thing. This is before they started off with Mantis, moved more spider direction, so for them definitely a gateway invert. Yeah. Hey Dave Lynn's report YouTube has inspired his tarantula collection. His local shop only has the most common available. YouTube showed him a variety and how to care for them. That's fantastic. Nevers asked, whereabouts in Norwich is the store? He'll have to pop in. I'm guessing he can't be too far away from me then.
No. It's basically city centre, but not city centre. It's on St Giles Street. So I think someone answered, further down, near the Forum/St Giles car park in Norwich, I think. And you are correct.
Oh, there you go. Very near the Forum. Oh, the Forum. Many a teenager, they sat on those steps.
You were one of those.
So,
oh dear.
Absolutely without the WhatsApp group, we wouldn't have half the amount of inverts that she has. Began in the group with maybe 5 now, over 20. Couldn't have done without the help from anyone. That's fantastic. So, Matt's poor. If you fancy a trip down to Essex, come see the place near him for a variety of inverts.
Oh, where's that? What is
Bugnut?
Oh, cool.
No, it's not Bugnut. Bug Hut. Bug Hut.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't drive, but maybe.
Oh, and I used to go to Norwich Skate Park all the time.
Hey, nice.
So,
come on, you boring old farts. What?
Oh, there we go. It's actually John said that the grounders are silent. Only males make any noise, and it's very low rubbing that you can hardly hear once every few weeks. Don't tell me that. I don't know. I've got an enclosure that's big enough. I don't know where I'll stick it nowadays. But
ooh, I'm going to have a quick look at those. Let's have a look. Oh, they're cool.
Yeah, they're big.
Just a bit. Wow. Oh, I'm going into like a weird rabbit hole now. They're cool. Maybe John, you'll have to message me.
And then there we go. Yeah, Bug Hut and Reptile Hut.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I was actually on Bug. I was on Bug. Was it Bug Hut's website I was on the other day?
No, it might be where I've done the confusion of Bug Nut, which has a website.
Oh, okay.
And Chipsell, which is and imports. Bug Hut. It's easy to get the two. So change them one letter.
Yeah, I think I've seen Reptile Hut posts on Facebook and things. I've got a list somewhere of all the shops in the UK that I want to get round to. But it's finding the time.
So, they only have Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, cool. Oh, hang on. I think we keep missing Tony's. For the non-smart folk, what is it he breeds? Big old katydids and
Basically,
emerald.
yeah, Cade is basically a massive bush cricket.
Let me see if I can show.
I think of like a really big grasshopper type animal.
God, they're so scary looking.
They're really cool. They're really, really cool.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, it's not going to do it, is it? Come on. There we go.
Yes.
That big thing.
There you go. Big old katydid.
Scary, scary. Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah, I like those too.
The Trovodactylus.
They're super cool. I can't remember what I've had before. They were the versicolor, something versicolor.
I used to keep those myself. The little ones. The males are sort of black with the green bits on them and stuff, and females a little bit larger that are brown.
I can't remember. I can't remember exactly what they were, but they were really, really cool. And I got eggs from them, but the eggs never hatched. I presume they have to go through like a seasonal change. And I haven't seen them anywhere since, which is a shame. But they were cool. They were cute.
The giant softies is what they are.
No, man, they look like they have some big old mandibles.
I held one at there's at the Midlands Entomological Show actually last year. I held one.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Basically, as long as you don't kind of like pinch it, it ain't gonna. Oh, there we go. Is that the one?
To be fair, I think I probably monkey face grasshopper. Yeah, that's the one.
So, yeah, there's like as long as you don't like try and pinch, you just kind of encourage it onto much like anything. You don't grab it, kind of thing.
Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah. No, actually, it doesn't. No, it does. No, it doesn't. Honestly, I can't remember. I've got a picture somewhere.
So going on to the sort of the other side of things they do, which is terrariums. So that's
Yeah.
quite a big part of what you do as well.
Yeah.
And stuff. Again, I mean, I've got into doing a few and stuff. That again seems to have, to me anyway, seems to have boomed in popularity over the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. Would you agree with that, or has it been sort of fairly steady?
Yeah, no, it's definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think initially it was more people buying them pre-made, and then more people making their own.
Yep.
And I think more and more people are starting to want to learn how to do them themselves and things. But I think it's there's a lot of things that have hung around since lockdown, and I think that's one of them. There was a massive boom during lockdown because everyone was at home. They couldn't leave, didn't leave, and they were just looking for something to do in the house.
Yeah.
And I think that stuck around. So yeah, I think it's an ever growing thing. But I think what I've noticed growing is, I think this is probably down to Worcester. Old Ben is the isopods and things that go in them. Isopods, springtails, etc., which has then led into more inverts. So yeah, I definitely think it's growing and evolving.
And I think it's quite a I find it quite a relaxing thing to do, even just a simple terrarium. It's quite a nice, relaxing thing to do sometimes. Just it's kind of that creative thing, gets that creative part of your mind going and stuff. That and so, but what are some of the, if someone perhaps has never done one before and perhaps is interested in making their own one, what would be your advice in terms of how to go about that?
Well, there's a guide on the website on how to do them. If you type in terrarium guide, you will find it on there. Or if you are local, pop in and I can sort of talk to you about it. But yeah, there's a guide on there, and everything you need is on the website as well. There's so many different ways of doing it. What I find best, and this applies to sort of the aspect of everything, is find one person that does it and does it well, and just listen to their advice. You start listening to lots of bits of advice, you'll just get confused. But no, I think everyone should give it a go. And I think, for example, I'm quite finicky when it comes to using the same pieces of wood or the same pieces of rock. So don't put two different types of rock in one terrarium, because it stresses me out. But some people like that. So I think when making them, don't worry about how you think other people will think it looks. If you like it, then it's fine.
That's all that matters.
That's the important thing. A lot of the time in workshop, people will be going, "Oh, does this look right?" I'm like, there's so much personal preference with these things. If you like it, no one else's opinion should kind of matter on it.
Yeah. I think sometimes, like, people sometimes, and I've done it myself or whatever, you'll watch people like Serpa Design or Worcester Terrariums or Terrarium Designs or whoever, and be like, "Oh, well, mine looks nothing like theirs, and theirs looks so much better than mine," and forget that. Well, these people perhaps been doing it for multiple of years to get to that point, and it's a skill thing, sort of thing. And at the end of the day, as long as it looks good to you, and you're the one keeping it, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Other thing.
That's it. I mean, I think even the creative side of it can be learned. It's like I've never been that creative, but because I've been now making terrariums, building terrariums, the aquascapes, the bibs and things for like 4 years, like properly focused on it. Like I can put something together, and people are just like, "How have you done that? That looks amazing." Tooting my own horn, but and I'll look at it and just be like, "I've just like put things together that I think would look all right." But beforehand, I wouldn't have no idea what I'm doing. So I think the creative aspect can be learned. There's a few things that you can follow, like using the same type of rock and wood looks way more natural. I think what a lot of people end up doing when they're building, whether it's a aquarium, terrarium, or vivarium, is they try and make everything look too perfect, which then just looks unnatural, which then looks weird to the eye. I find working in odd numbers works a heck of a lot better as well. So if you had, one rock here, and then maybe another rock slightly in front of one of the others, that'll look way more natural than having one here, and then another one here, and another one here. Because not a lot of the time, if you look outside or look in the forest and things, nothing's very uniform for the most part. So I think that's another thing I've picked up on. What people do is they'll try and make it look too clean and perfect, which you can do layouts that have that clean look to them, but it's that trying to get everything like matched, which people naturally do. But when you're building like a natural landscape or area or display, you don't want that too perfect look. It then just doesn't look natural, which then in turn, if something doesn't look natural, it usually then gets translated as it doesn't look very nice in your head. So I think that's it. If you're making terrariums, vivariums, etc., do it without thinking, which is a really weird thing to say. But what I mean is just do. Don't think about it too much. Just play around with whatever bits of materials you're using, and you'll create something better than, I think, if you were to say, I want it to look exactly like this and plan it too much. Just go.
Yeah, let's go with it. So I'm just going to highlight. So Leah's put £2 on to say happy birthday to Nat of Somerset Spies. So happy birthday, Nat.
Ah, happy birthday, Nat.
Thank you for that, Leah. Though I didn't realise it was Nat's birthday. So yeah, happy birthday, man.
Woo!
He's 21 again. So and Tron's put on 50 knock to say happy birthday, Nat.
Knock. Which currency is that?
Norwegian kroner.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, John's over in Norway.
Hey, cool.
Hey, John. And Nat has put no new spiders, but he's buying himself something super special at the end of the month to celebrate. Nice one, Nat.
Hey, nice.
And there's just such support that he thinks the problem these guys are trying to make it look too neat. And I think we all go through that.
Yeah.
We all, I've certainly done that. I've done that with trying to do rock work at, myself, fake rock work and go, oh, how do I make this look like a perfect rock? Until someone feel there's no such thing as a perfect looking rock. So like none of them look perfect and naturally. I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
No, that's it. It's again, and I remember some of the things that I made when I first started, and looking back at them, they were just too man-made, which is the kind of is the exact opposite of what you want. I think that's why not thinking about what you're doing too much gets better results. But again, a lot of it's personal preference. Some people like that really symmetrical look.
Oh, it hasn't come on here, but Transfer Rookie Matt has gifted a channel membership, which has gone to Lucy's Menagerie.
Hey!
For some reason, it doesn't come up on StreamYard for some reason.
That's cool.
Thank you for that. But yeah, in terms of like terms, what's sort of like some of the biggest mistakes you've seen perhaps people make with one that once it's done?
Oh, especially with the sealed ones, is they water it too much. I think what I generally tell people is you shouldn't need to water it. Maybe you can top it up with water once every sort of 4 months or so. But I had last Christmas, I had people who'd been in Christmas before, and they've not watered it for that whole 12 months. Just keep it sealed, keep it out of light. But people that come back and say, can you replant this for me? It's either been sitting in the sun and the moss and leaves have got burnt, or the soil is completely sort of sodden, soaking through, which has then killed it.
Yeah, I would say that, and I've certainly made both of those mistakes kind of thing in the process, and it's part of the process. Sometimes you kind of go, yep, overwatered it, or you forget that, or even like had one sitting on, they end up getting sun on them, and then just go kind of drying out too much. Thing. Animals. Anton's asked, what's the rarest animal you've had in your shop / sold?
So, I've currently got. I'm looking after a couple of snakes for my friend, and they're basically got a male and a female. I think they're about 13 years old. Pair of Corn Island boas.
Ooh.
For the life of me, I cannot find any others anywhere. My friend who I'm looking after them for, she had them and did breed them once, but boas people just weren't sort of interested as much then. But she's just kept them. And yeah, I can't find anyone else with them. I was talking to a few of the sort of bigger boa breeders in the UK, and they don't know anyone with one. So I think I class them as rare. And to be fair, they are so pretty. It's actually ridiculous how pretty they are. The sort of rainbowy sheen from these two, especially the big female, is just so nice. And she will change color as well. But she's got these like little red markings down her as well. I think there's probably a picture on the shop Instagram. Maybe I can't remember, but they're probably the rarest I've had. Rare in the sense of I don't know anyone else that's got them. There probably is someone out there, but no one's actively breeding them, which is a massive pain because they're probably the prettiest boas that I know, like the sort of standard boas anyway. Yeah, they're probably, and they'd never be sold. She's had them for God, like 14 years or so, whatever it was. They're cool, very cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I see Natalie. Natalie's off to get some food and do some more work. It was a great. I think she means great live, but she put great love. Great live. Go enjoy. John's asked, "What do you find hardest to stand back and be happy with? Aquascapes or terrariums you produce?"
Oof, John with the the good questions. I don't know. Maybe aquariums, only because I think an aquarium can look really good at the start, but you don't know how it's going to look when it grows in, because you can have the same plant in a very similar setup to someone else, and theirs will grow completely differently to how yours will. So I think it's harder to stand back, look at an aquascape and go, yeah, this is going to look amazing. This looks great, because it's probably going to look completely different in a few months' time. Whereas at least with terrariums, they tend to stay how they are when they're first planted up. Plants will grow and things, but the general layout stay the same. Whereas, yeah, the aquascapes, I could do an amazing layout with rock, but the plants could grow in, and then you just will never see the rocks ever again. So yeah, I'll say the aquascapes on that one.
Exotics is always trying to work out how to do an arid/desert style enclosure, which also suits something like a Chalcodes. So it should be able to burrow, but sand isn't very burrowable for teas. So I've used for things like my Scaped Nature, a mixture of Arcadia, Earth Mix Arid, with a bit of sand mixed in. And that's a kind of a more of a soil-based arid mix. That's really nice. I know I think MK Exotics Horticultural Supplies does an arid mix as well. And so I don't know if you have any sort of ones to add on to that.
No. I was going to say, yeah, the Arcadia Arid mix, or I think it's mentioned slightly lower down. I would mix the Arid mix with the Exoterra excavator sand clay stuff.
Oh yeah. Sounds about excavated clay. If you got I prefer the Exoterra Stone Desert to excavated clay.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's the one I meant. Yeah,
So
that one.
purely because Excavated Clay seems to come in one size and it's one color, whereas Exoterra Stone Desert, there's 3 different colors to it. And then and one of them, you got I used one actually for background actually, and it worked perfectly. And when it dried, it naturally cracked.
That's cool.
And stuff. It was
That's
that
really
was
cool.
absolutely perfect. Sort of thing and stuff. And then in that enclosure, it's got a white lady dancing spider in. Then I've done a mix of earth mix arid, arcade earth mix arid with some sand.
Has anyone bred those?
Not yet, not as far as I'm aware. I've potentially got a pair, but I'm not 100% sure.
No, I had the same in the shop. I had what I believe to be a pair, but I don't think that they were mature. But one of the pedipalps on one of them were definitely chunkier.
Yeah.
That's what I'm basing it on.
Yeah. Normally, if you've got a bulbous pedipalp, there we go. Okay. Oh, Roger thought, did you see the Avatar aquarium that Serpent did? If so, what are your thoughts on it? And would that style inspire a design tool? I don't think I saw that one, the Avatar one. That doesn't ring a bell to me.
I think I saw it briefly. I'm just going to double check it again, so I can refresh my memory and actually comment on it properly. Oh, why am I looking at Supras? There we go. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think from a design perspective, I appreciate it, but it's not my personal cup of tea. I think it has that too much of like hang on, let me find a better look at it. Just because I don't want to. Oh, hang on, maybe I got confused. I'm thinking about a different tank you did. How long ago was this video? Serpa.
Cool. I'm just going to was looking at Dave Lynn, his Calcodes landscape is done using the Exoterra Sonoran Ochre Stone Desert and complements her colours.
Nice, yeah.
So they've give both a bit of a look. Like I prefer the Exoterra Stone Desert stuff to Excavated Clay personally. It's basically exactly the same stuff, but comes in different colours. Also, find the Stone Desert there's a bit more texture to it as well.
Yes, yeah.
And so because there's bits of little stones in there and stuff. So there's a lot more textures going on, which I quite like. So, hey Steve, hey Thomas, hey Michael,
In
hey Jack.
response to Tarantula Rookie, I cannot find that aquarium at all on his channel.
He said he's gonna find it.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, he's put ignore him. It's not Surfer.
I've definitely seen. Was it Green Aqua by any chance? Because I think I saw theirs.
So someone says, was it Ants Canada?
I think a lot of people have done it.
He's put a link in. So I'll open a link and see because I don't. Yeah, Green Aqua.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
which is a new one to me. I'm not aware of them, but I might have to check them out if they're really good.
Yeah, it looks really cool, and I can appreciate the design and time behind it. But yeah, it's one of those things again. It's too man-made looking for my liking. But it's personal preference. It's not a bad layout. It's just not something I
mean, and I think when it comes to these sort this sort of stuff. At the end of the day, doing an enclosure up is very much often what you want to see, kind of thing. And especially when it comes to inverts, like let's say probably a lot of inverts don't necessarily care how the enclosure looks, kind of thing.
No.
Really. The aesthetics is for us. Like, yeah, this mantis would probably be just as happy in a smaller enclosure with just a few things to climb on. And stuff could gets fed. And stuff as in there that's for the plant life and sticks and twigs and stuff. And I've got a whole mixture of designs, whether it either be something that's live planted, like that, or I've got ones that I've done like horror themed, sort of more horror themed backgrounds too, and stuff that's obviously completely man made because I've said like Halloween masks into the background or whatever stuff. To have a bit of fun with it, sort of thing. And what and then obviously ones that are very very basic for rearing up things or whatever. And so, but so I mean, ultimately, I prefer the sort of the more natural look. But you can also, I've got a couple where it's horror themed with live planted, so it's got almost a bit of both kind of thing.
That's it. And yeah, whether it's a horror mask or it's a cork bark or whatever, it's just a hide to your reptile.
No worries on that. That's all. Take care, buddy, and happy birthday again.
Bye.
There's exotic. Probably really like to incorporate a small pump to make a waterfall for his Faraposa. I've seen actually at one zoo they on a paludarium with a Brachypelma hamori in it, which that was interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I know. You kind of like so. Yeah, they it was like meant to be like the river that they found like near. So it was a Mexican themed tank, so they had Mexican pupfish in the water bit, and then they're like, oh yeah, and there's a hamori at the back. And we're like, are you not worried that okay, they don't necessarily drown, but like this is a huge enclosure, but it's most of it's water. Sort of thing.
People.
You're not worried that at some point it's going to fall in.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Then the last time I went, they'd filled it up completely with water and it was just for the pupfish. I was like, yeah.
Oh.
That clearly didn't work.
Oh, no.
It's all like,
Yeah.
It's all like, yeah, but there's probably a reason that no one keeps those in the paludarium.
Well, that's it.
I think in terms of like, yeah, doing a waterfall for Faraposa, depends how you do it, I suppose. I don't know if I'd want necessarily a running waterfall in a tarantula enclosure. Maybe like something that's more of a drip, maybe.
Yeah.
So we also got to, yeah, gentle trickle might work. You just got to just be design it in a way that obviously, Faraposa can't dig it up.
Because if it can, it will.
Yep. That's it. That'd be sort of the only issue. I'd have thought with that because both my Faraposa, well, I say all my Faraposa because I've got Apophysis and Blondie. They borrow. But I sort of say that it can't be done.
Yeah.
Give it a big enough space. You go a bit bigger than what you perhaps normally would. Well, it might be a case that it just never goes over to that end, maybe.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And so it's not to say that it can't work. And so, and also certainly don't. Yeah, anything's doable. Sort of thing. Yes, great. Exactly. Like yeah, Palagerian for a Gigas, yeah, might work, but not not a Mori. it was a very weird one. But I was at the Invent conference and we all went, "Why have you done this?"
Oh
Makes no
dear.
sense. It was like, yeah, okay, this is a cool idea, but it would have been better doing an enclosure to the side of it to make it look like it was part of it, but not part of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Probably would have been made more sense when you might have actually seen the spider as well. So,
Yeah. I mean, well, now that they've done it, we now know that it definitely shouldn't be done again.
that's it. So yeah. So, but yeah, you get even in zoos, you get weird things that happen.
Mhm.
Hey, Mark, get weird mixes of animals sometimes. So you like kind of look back and go, you what? So, oh, Greg, as I told you, wish he had the confidence and time to be more elaborate with his enclosures. Don't even have plants apart from moss. I think for me, moss really does highlight an enclosure sometimes. Just want some fresh moss in.
Yeah.
Really brightens up an enclosure. So nothing. I don't think anything wrong with that.
I would Fittonia is what you want. Fitttonia. Basically indestructible. And it adds a nice splash of colour to it
And comes in
well.
a few different colours. We got the sort of the reds, the pinks, and the whites.
Mm-hmm.
Always looks quite nice. Joey, what was your favourite thing in the shop and favourite thing about the hobby generally? Two good questions there.
Favourite thing in the shop? I am thoroughly enjoying. That's a hard one. Favourite thing in the shop? Like animal or enclosure? Animal wise, it'd probably be. Is it about the rats? Having the rats, because they're right next to the till, and they're always just so happy. No, I think if it had to be reptile, again, blue, the panther chameleon. And favourite thing about the hobby and the hobby generally. I like the direction the hobby is going in terms of enclosures, and sort of awareness of setting up the right enclosures. As it seems like more and more people are starting to do more naturalistic setups and a lot of the sort of really small, or not small, all the really sort of generic fake plants and things. Which, don't get me wrong, fake plants can be utilised well, but I think the general move over to more naturalistic and enrichment for reptiles, I think, is going in a good direction. And if anything, I think it's it's all my younger customers. 13, 14, 15, 16, that sort of age. Really putting more focus on making sure everything's perfect. So hopefully they keep it up. So I think the next generation of keepers are my favourite thing about the hobby.
I think without the next generation, the hobby would end. I don't think because we need that next generation coming through and stuff and being inspired and even pushing us and stuff and
that's it.
stuff. So we absolutely need that and so so. I wasn't sort of nothing wrong with a fake plant.
No. I know. Fake plants can be utilised really well. I think a way that they can be utilised really well, just so I can give you an example, just so you know that I'm not bashing them, is crested geckos. You can do a really nice planted crested gecko tank. But what I would also recommend with that is getting a really bushy sort of fake plant that you can just pin to the background, because crested geckos love small spaces but under sort of foliage and things. So you can have all your nice fancy looking plants and then get something like that, just pop it in the background, no one will notice, but it'll be
literally what I
utilised.
done when I had cresties and gargoyles was a hybrid sort of style enclosure of real plants in the foreground and stuff, and then fake along the back.
Mhm.
Kind of thing, literally for that reason.
Yeah.
And so, and obviously, yeah, they're pointing to about some of the fake plants that look extremely real, and there are some, you know, and it all depends. It's sort of it. You get what you pay for. The more you spend, the chances are the more realistic you're going to get. Sort of thing.
Yeah. One thing
and if you're spending very, very little, you're perhaps going to get those horrible coloured ones.
the neon ones. No, I think
like, oh.
the one thing I will say is try to avoid really cheap plasticky ones. Solely because if they're under a heat bulb and they start to get too warm, they can give off nasties.
Yeah.
I think John
Courtney Smith.
Courtney Smith, that was it.
Yep. Yeah, he's spoken about that quite a bit over the years. Some of the real cheap ones under, especially when it comes to reptiles. Osmond just keeps tarantulas, so he won't necessarily have that sort of one. But you can see that underneath a heat bulb, and again, all sorts of petrochemicals being released into the air and stuff, and they can be actually quite nasty sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah,
because they're done with like a cheaper plastic that melts a lot quicker and stuff, and at lower temperatures, which you don't really want.
No.
Sort of thing. So, but the thing is, it's again, a lot of it's personal preference, sort of thing. A lot of the time, like there's some people out there that purely like the look of the fake foliage.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, or to go, oh, it's easy for me because I can dunk in disinfectant to clean it, and this and the other. And something actually, I was listening to, I can't remember what one it was about a podcast the other day, and there's someone on there. It's about sort of live planting, and what he doesn't like is, and we've all been there of having a live plant enclosure and then panicking because a leaf's gone, a leaf's died on the plant, kind of thing. And people always removing those. It's like, no, leave them in there because it's part of it being natural and stuff. And it's all like, and actually go, it's like, I think it's actually for dark frost. So it might have been amphibicast maybe. So it was like, and it was like, these plants don't look perfect in the wild. Sort of thing. They got dead leaves on them. They got tatty leaves on them.
That's it. And it's all part of the system. So that leaf will go to the floor. The ice, maybe if we've got isopods in there, they'll eat it, or it'll break down, turn into nitrite, and feed the rest of the plants. So it's like a lovely little circle, which is what I enjoy most about it, is knowing that there's like a whole little like system going on there.
So, and so, Osmond's in the Netherlands, and he said, he's switching all out for fake, to be honest. Low maintenance, stay clean, and many options to choose from, and not all real plants do good in low, light, warm environments. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes we get that. It's getting sometimes the right plant for the right enclosure, sometimes, or whatever. And sometimes low light doesn't mean no light, kind of thing as well, and stuff like standard pothos could pretty much live anywhere, but it still needs a little bit of light.
No, that's it. That's it.
Matt's put the softer fakes as opposed to the hard exo stuff simply for abdomen paranoia.
Yeah, silk plants.
Yeah. There we go. Greg said he might have to order some stuff perhaps tomorrow. He's just been browsing some plants for forest and arid setups on your website.
Nice. Feel free to send me a message and I can help with the choices.
go. And there's actually put, do you have any recommendations for live plants for arid enclosure? Can you get desert style grasses, etc.?
Yeah, so for example, with a few of the sort of leopard gecko enclosures, and I did try for a bearded dragon enclosure, but it just got eaten. A lot of the succulents tend to work pretty well, but in terms of getting the grasses, it's really difficult, and I don't know why. I've been searching and searching for something that's suitable, but what I find is a lot of the arid grasses just get so tall. So I'm working on it. I'm trying to find some grasses because I think they'd be so effective as like little texture pieces, and would really finish off an arid enclosure. But it's just finding them. It's just finding them.
One of the sort I think Sam Perry years ago, what he done for, I think it might have been like his desert iguanas. Maybe he got dried dead grass and like super glued it all together to make like a little clump
Okay.
and stuff. I would even get like little twigs and stuff, and again do like either like super glue or like a whole blob of silicon around the end of it to make it look like tufts and stuff to stick in his enclosure, and it looked really effective.
Okay. That's a good shout. That's a good shout. Tillandsia could work as well, but you'd need to be taking it out, giving it a good mist, and then putting it back in again.
So Amy said the teas tend to destroy real plants.
Yeah, they do.
And if I find I've got a couple of real plants here with the ones at work, and they haven't destroyed them. So like they've in with a rosea and a pulchra, and they'll actually kind of hide behind them and stuff every now and then and stuff. Like the rosea's got was it a one of the carex grasses, the ones that they look dead but they're not, kind of thing. The kind of brown grasses.
For the life of me, I haven't seen roseas for ages.
As because they got really kind of scarce for a bit.
Yeah, because I remember they were like the one. They were like the tarantula that everyone had.
They're like the cheap gateway tarantula, tenner for an adult. And now you're looking at over like near enough £100 or over £100 for an adult. Yeah.
Wow. That's
It's
cool.
a bit like emperor scorpions. People, they're just being imported all the time. No one bred them because they couldn't be bothered because it was so cheap just to buy in wild caught. And then when Chile stopped exporting, it's like,
But now what do we do?
Exactly. Oh, Thomas as well. Actually, Pothos doesn't need any light. He has a Pothos that's been living inside a sealed chair for 2.5 years. It's a bit pale, but it's still growing and alive. My question there, Tom, is why do you have a Pothos inside a sealed chair?
Yeah, that was my question.
I mean, this is Thomas. Thomas does some things that we do question sometimes. I'm like, yeah, what?
Is it like what?
Absolutely, Dev. Who thinks it also so that plants established before moving inside room makes them a bit tougher for them, for any animal.
Yeah.
Any animal. And that's sometimes where people go wrong with either with live plants in any enclosure. They'll set it up and then they'll put the animal straight in, and that the thing is moving the plants stresses the plant out, sort of thing. I've got a plant enclosure down there that's been planted for a good few months and I haven't stuck anything else in it yet. And it's purely let the plants grow, establish, get their roots in place and hold up, and then I'll be putting stuff in there that does berry and stuff, and potentially would eat some roots, kind of thing. And we'll see how it goes. I see those boys going to get some brown carrots for his Aki enclosure.
Nice.
Oh well. Sea Spider's just got two rosea in two mystery boxes 3 weeks apart.
Nice. That's cool.
So, there we go. So he needed to get rid of some soil. So he chucked it in the cavity of a stool, and Apophos sprouted out completely in the dark. Okay.
That doesn't, what? That still doesn't make sense. We need a picture of it.
You chucked the soil inside the stool, or you chucked just the plant inside the stool? What? Yeah, that's confusing me, Thomas.
So a cavity of a stool. So was it like one of those? I don't understand. Was there like a hole in the cushion of the stool? Or was it like one of those lift up ones?
Only Thomas could come up. Cool. He's going to send me a picture.
Yes.
Because we're both baffled. Like, yeah, need to get rid of soil, so into soil rather than a bin or compost or normal waste. That's what he's going to come in the shop during the week to see what you've got. You can do with some supplies. Want to move or invest into naturalistic enclosures, whether arid, temperate, or tropical. Fantastic.
Nice. Sounds good.
And then, yeah, question for everyone. He's got a load of substrate. It's really dense and heavy. He wants to get rid of. How would dispose of substrate? Do you have a garden?
If not, get an allotment.
Yeah, because that's always kind of the difficult thing. Is getting rid of substrates can be quite a difficult thing because you shouldn't really be sticking it in like your house bins. Often they tend to say like no compost, no soils or whatever.
Plus, if there's like a random rogue cricket in there, it's an ecological disaster waiting to happen.
So, or do what Thomas says and stick it in the chair.
Yeah,
Matt's just put that into the chair.
That's it.
So, yeah, see, they put they put it all in the compost. Steve does put it in his green weedy bin. The bin men love him. See, mine around here specifically says that I can't put anything like that into the bin.
Really? Odd. They're saying that. I don't even have a green bin here. Oh no.
Even better, but it's full of contained hairs just to make it even better. Nandu hairs as well. Hey Jim, Jim's putting your trousers and shake it out when you're walking around town. You might get some funny looks, but I'll get rid of it eventually. Oh, here we go. Right, Thomas has sent.
This better be the greatest thing I've ever seen.
So he's literally put the soil inside a stool.
Is that a stool?
Oh, there's a video.
Ah.
Because, of course, that's where you stick your substrate.
Amazing.
So,
cool.
See you, Greg. So, there you posted to someone you don't like.
Oh Lord.
Amy wants to be friends with someone who keeps butterflies and/or moths. Speak to Thomas, and then Jungle Off, he keeps butterflies and moths.
Oh, I'd love some butterflies or moths.
Although he is up in Scotland and puts substrate in stalls, as we've just seen.
I think the only thing that puts me off with butterflies and moths is that supposed like, oh hang on, I'm out of focus again. The why am I not focusing? Hang on.
Oh, cool.
There we go. It's the extremely long period of them going from the egg to then caterpillar.
Yeah, you get, and that can be Lepidoptera can be quite finicky sometimes.
Yeah. Why is my
It's
webcam
sort of
not?
thing like I've kept a few over the years. I don't anymore at the moment, but I've had a few tropical butterflies and moths in my time. And yeah, if you don't get it, if you don't get like the emergence chamber spot on, they'll emerge with so many deformities and stuff, and then you just there going, "Oh my god, what's happened?"
Yeah. No, I had two. Are they owl-eyed moths?
Oh yeah,
One of them emerged fine. The other one was just a mess, which is a shame. And they just don't live very long.
that's it as well. I really don't like when I've kept like Atlas moths and like pretty much the most you're going to get out of them is 2 weeks if you're lucky. Kind of thing for hook.
Yeah.
So,
No, I really like the lunar moths, the swallowtail lunar moth ones.
raised
Oh, there we
20
go.
lunar moths in 17 days, which has been told is a record from egg hatch to spinning up.
What? No way. How? What is your secret? Really? Egg hatch to spinning up?
So, had 21 days from a female Atticus locrini.
What? How? How? Right, I'm going to message you before I forget to message you. Hang on.
Paper birch seems to accelerate the growth of everything.
Okay. I'm saying okay as if I know what that means. Jungle loft. Why can I not find you?
If anyone wants to ask anything, just ask. He'll tell all. He's also Edinburgh entomology as well.
Okay. Aha, I think I've found
Hey,
you.
Katie.
Well, I guess I'll be getting some cool moths, it would seem.
So, I'm coming up to, because I'll be kind of about 10ish, because I have work in the morning. For people wondering, what are you open 7 days a week, or what are your opening times?
So open. Oh, sorry. You've just talking about working tomorrow has made me sleepy. So I am open Wednesdays to Sundays. Most days 10 till 5. Sundays a little bit shorter, but for the most part, I'm there 7 days. Well, I say for the most part, I am there 7 days a week. So if you're ever walking by, if you knock on the door, I might let you in. If I hear the door knock. Depends what I'm doing, but yes, my normal days are Wednesday to Sunday.
I thought, well, ask that just, and then that'll be handy for lots of dev who's thinking they're coming down. There we go. And seen a lot of substrate mixes talk about using sand or pre-made ones having sand in. Is there a difference between using things like horticultural sand, play sand, exo, desert sand, etc.?
Yeah, I think different grain size, which plays a massive part. I think play sand might be a good one because it tends to be more clumpy.
Yeah.
But the exo desert sand just looks way more natural because it's got all the different sizes and more rocky bits in it as well. I don't know about horticultural sand. That's probably going to be.
Oh gosh, they normally call that like sharp sand, don't they? Sometimes and stuff, which is added into like things for like drainage and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think that's probably what is meant by the horticultural. Yeah, I've used kind of a bit of a mix of all of it sometimes in one mix. Sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, like you get desert sand. Desert sand is some. If it's just called desert sand, it's sometimes just very, very dry, and that's it. Whereas like clay sand just has some moisture in, which I think a lot of people forget that deserts aren't necessarily bone dry. I don't think there's
No.
actually still some moisture out there.
Yeah.
And so I'll use like desert, and then like the Exoterra stone desert. We got the stones in it and stuff, which make it look a bit more a little bit more naturalistic. So it's kind of it's playing around with it.
Yeah. I think there's no one perfect substrate. Most, if not all, of my enclosures will be mixes of multiple different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's whether you mix it from scratch and get all the various components individually, or even mixing different pre-made mixes. Sometimes.
No, that's it. That's it. And to be fair, I think I use Arcadia Arid or Arcadia not Arid. I don't
But
know
just
what
earth mix, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
In everything, but I will mix something else with it.
Yep. So, let's do those for sharp sand is quite jagged, so it clumps together more than soft sand,
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. And in terms of, I mean, I've got a little bit of earth mix Arid left actually from doing it. I have to say, it's fantastic stuff. It's really, really, really cool because it's got like volcanic rock dust in it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a darker substrate. It's more of a soil based sort of substrate. And so I think it looks really nice with a bit of sand mixed into it, and some rocks mixed into it and stuff. Oh, I'm trying to support 20. Nice tattoo. I know which one he's referring to. The scorpion. He's referring to scorpions because Tron
That's
is very
nice.
much
Yeah.
a scorpion
I forgot
person.
which side it was on. Yeah, I got this guy when I was 17. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
So, anything scorpion related, and Tron wakes up.
Nice.
Anything scorpion related.
Nice.
I mean, do you have any scorpions in the shop?
Not at the moment. I keep looking at the little cute tiny guys that I think are they parthogenic.
The pygmy woods.
Yeah. They're super cute.
Yeah,
Super cute. So I might get some more of those in. Maybe a couple of sort of more the forest. But yeah, I prefer the sort of slightly more interesting sort of smaller ones. And a flat rock I've got at the shop as well.
Oh, you got a flat rock. Nice.
Oh my god, the only issue is it's about that big. So it's going to be that big for a very long time.
For a long time, but it's which species of flat rock have you got?
Can't remember off the top of my head. It was gifted to me. I'll have to find out and ask, but I'll let you know. But yeah, I remember years and years ago, I did have a male and a female adult. Let me double check.
The troglodytes.
Yeah.
That one, yeah.
They were cool.
Yeah. I used to have I haven't got any flat rocks at the moment. I need to get flat rocks again at some point because don't see them as often as I used to. Another
No,
one
this is it.
that you just don't see anywhere near as often nowadays.
No,
Thing.
no.
So and and there's for he's going to make up some different batch experiments. See what that's what everyone does.
Yep.
I think it's literally to see what works for you. And that's the thing as well. Sometimes in substrates, what works for me may not work for Joe, may not work for you. And I think we will have our own preferences of what we like to see. And so it can vary, from property to property. The temperature of my property will affect things differently to and stuff. So experiment with it and see what works with you. That's often the best way.
Yep.
So I mean, just to please John. John may not know, but I also have a scorpion tattoo.
Yes. There we go.
It's unfortunately my only tattoo because I haven't been able to afford others. but at some point, because there's actually a friend of mine she's tattooing it in Norwich, and she started doing some invert design. So I'm like, ooh,
Ooh. Is
might
she?
have to.
Is she at a shop?
Yes, she is, because I got it done by Inky Joe, who's now at Five Key Studio in Norwich.
Oh yeah.
He's there. He used to be in Sudbury. He's really good, but you're looking at a good £500 or whatever for nowadays. That was about 250.
Yeah.
But it was a lot. That was when he was in Sudbury, and he couldn't charge much.
Yeah.
Whereas she's at SIF.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And
Nice.
so, with those guys, but she's been putting up some nice designs that she's coming up with. Done one that I really I like. I would change just a little bit. I'll just have the beetle. Done an Atlas beetle.
Ooh, yeah.
Design, but I would just remove the bit. There's a bit around it that I was like, probably miss it at some point. Just be like, can you just do the beetle on me? not the little designy bit around the beetle sort of thing. Which is that.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I was like, get rid of that little bit there and just have the beetle.
Yeah.
I'd probably be tempted in that
Nice.
sort of thing. Her drawings are really good. Well, no, someone has done the odd drawing based on my photos and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
But so she's at SIF Studio. But she's kind of all sorts of invert designs. I was like, oh, might have to start coming to you for some invert tattoos. She's done this one recently, actually. So, actually, is that the right? Trying to see if that's the right photo for it. She's recently done a tarantula one as a cover up piece. So basically, she's covering that up.
Mm-hmm.
Then she's done stages of doing it. Taking it from a photo and design and stuff. I'll try and find the actual finished piece. Okay, because that doesn't have the finished piece in it. Bear with me, I'll find it. Because it looked pretty decent. There we go. That's what she done.
That's wild.
That's basically someone that's part healed, sort of thing. Yeah, for someone's pet one
Oh,
sort of thing.
that's
It was
cute.
that's pretty cool.
What are they talking about in chat?
I don't know, but all I've just seen is a Sharon who is love at first sight saying Leah can do my boob.
Yep. Cool.
I'm not entirely sure what she's referring to there.
No.
I might be talking about tattoos, possibly. Hey, Charlie. Anyway, well, we've just gone past 10. So, do you want to just give a shout out of where everyone can sort of find you?
Yes. So, for the shop, you've got it's just at Scaped Nature. Let me. There we go. Scaped Nature, and that's both on Instagram and Facebook, and some on TikTok, but I haven't done for a while, apart from I did today. And then on Instagram for me, it is just the Joeologist, which I will just bring up on here. So, because funny enough, when I first made the account, I spelt my name wrong. So, oh come on, is it gonna do it?
Ooh.
No, it hates it. But just there we go. Ish. The Joeologist.
Thing. Or yeah, and then I will just pop actually the website.
Oh, and the website. That's a thing too.
Shop site back in chat as well for everyone to go and have a browse and go, oh, I like that. I like that. Sort of thing, all pretty things.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, maintain for joining, Joe.
That's all right. That's all right.
Again, maybe in a few months' time, we'll probably be hitting up each other again to be like,
yeah, no, that's it. That's it. No, that's it.
And again, I say every time, but I will get up to Norwich at some point, and
we'll see. We will see.
I will do it. I need to cut. I still need to visit Jamie at Norwich Reptile Shed and stuff, and I managed to get up to Norwich. Was it about a month ago? But I wasn't able to get down to the shop, unfortunately.
That's no good.
And stuff, but next time, it is on my list of things to do.
Good. Good. I look forward to it.
Cheers to everyone for joining. Obviously, thanks again, Joe, for joining. If you've been here from the start, thanks again. And yeah, I hope you all have a good night. And